So I've been living in Southeast Asia for a bit now. But as for why I left England and Europe behind, well, that's the purpose of today's video. So let's start with why I actually left England in the first place. So my life back in England pretty much consisted of waking up, going to work for 8 to 10 hours, then gym, then get home, cook, eat, and then maybe have an hour or two to relax and chill, and repeat. Until the weekend where I'd have a bit more time, unless I'm working overtime or working on my own business. And that was pretty much my life every week. And that's the trap you can get stuck in. Work, eat, sleep, repeat. And there's more to life than that. 9 to 5 life, it's not for me. So I wanted to escape and start living the life I wanted to live. Also, the cost of living is increasing. The lifestyle England offers isn't what I desire. Everyone seems to be depressed, which the weather probably doesn't help with. And people's attitudes and mindsets are not really what I want to surround myself with. Because remember, you are the sum of the people you have around you. Plus, this is all before I even mention Western politics. Which is, how do I put this? In a complete shambles. And I don't want to get involved in all that drama, so on to the next point. But why Southeast Asia? Well, Europe itself is facing challenges, that's no surprise. And while Europe is struggling, Southeast Asia on the other hand is thriving, under rapid growth and a young workforce, with future trends pointing towards economic growth, digital and AI acceleration, rapid urban expansion, and a rising middle class. So as far as the future goes, it could be Asian, if that's a saying. I don't think it is. And as much as people think Southeast Asia is third world, most of the time the people that say that haven't been, or they've only been once to one area and never left it. Because if you wanted to stay in the first world here in Southeast Asia, you definitely can. Most of the capital cities here are very well developed and completely modernised. Bangkok and all the tourist cities in Thailand are for sure modernised, and tourists have no issues. And then you move on to Malaysia. Kuala Lumpur is extremely well developed and very advanced, even more so than most of the Western cities, to be honest. And then with Singapore next door, the cities in Vietnam, the list can go on, of the cities where you can actually live in the first world here. Because really, unless you go to the outskirts or more rural places, you'll probably be surprised just how not third world these places are. There's parts in nearly every country here in Southeast Asia that has a developed city that would completely surprise you. And an obvious reason would be the weather. As long as you can handle the heat and other challenges that come with the crazy weather here, then the weather in Southeast Asia is a lot better. But you don't get to avoid the rain altogether. Instead of it raining all day, it'll throw it down for a few minutes and then the sun will come back out shining after. Like I said, it does come with its challenges, but if you'd rather be hot than cold, like me, then Southeast Asia is perfect. And also the people and their attitudes out here are completely different. If you wanted to start a business in England, people might question why you bother taking the risk. Here it's the opposite. It's encouraged. In Southeast Asia there's different values, it's more community based, more traditional, more freedom, and a lifestyle that really can't be compared to England. And that's just some of the reasons of why I picked Southeast Asia. And it's nowhere near as cheap as it once was. If you speak to anyone that's been to Thailand and Southeast Asia in the last few years, don't worry, I'm sure they'll remind you how cheap it once was and the prices that they got to pay once. And even though it's gotten more expensive, it's still cheaper than the West. And there are still countries and cities that are even cheaper, but mostly the tourist places and the more developed cities have gone up in price. But whenever I leave these main cities here in Thailand, for example, or even go travelling to smaller cities and towns in another country, it's like everything's on discount. And like Cambodia, when I went there last year, it was already slightly cheaper than Thailand. And the more rural I went, the less I paid for the same things. The best example would be my daily gym pass, which started out at $2 a day pass. Then the next city over went down to $1, until I went to the most rural city I went to, where it was only 50 cents for a day pass. And the gyms are all pretty similar. So if keeping costs as low as possible is your only objective, then don't worry, you can still find somewhere, go into the middle of a field, live in a shed, and save every penny you can. I guess that's an option for the ultimate cheapskates. But even if cost was the same back in England compared to here, I still rather live here for many reasons. And I'll say the lower cost of living isn't the main reason, it's just a bonus really. The cherry on top of an already very good package deal. So I quit my job and moved to Southeast Asia, saved up a bit of money and put a plan together to make sure I don't end up running back to my home country with no money, like nearly every other expat out there. And this is the process of what the expats I've spoken to end up in, the cycle of coming back out repeatedly until you can actually stay out here. And as for life out here, I think it helps with getting more motivation, taking risks, building something of yourself, and most of all it helps break the 9 to 5 cycle that keeps you down and trapped in situations you probably don't even want to be in to begin with. So far anyway, I'm extremely happy with my decision to leave the UK and all its problems behind. I'm glad I did. I prefer my new life out here that I've created for myself a lot more anyway. So I don't regret leaving at all. My biggest worry is having to go back. But for a holiday, maybe a couple weeks, I can manage that. And if you fancy doing what I've done and moving to Southeast Asia, and Thailand more specifically, then check out the link in the description for my Move to Thailand guide, which includes everything you need to know about moving to the other side of the world, from knowing what visa you'll need, what mistakes to avoid, and a full Move to Thailand blueprint, and everything in between. I mean, pretty much I tried to answer every question I could think of that I'd want to know before moving. So yeah, that's there if you're interested, check it out. But yeah, that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.